up a seat at the bar to join us for another episode of McAnally's Pubcast, a podcast exploring the fun and fantastical mind of Jim Butcher's The Dresden Files series. Host Tanzan, Maggie, and me bring you another round of literary analysis on this immense, immersive, and colorful environment inhabited by Harry Dresden, the world's only licensed private investigator and professional wizard. Join an active and engaged community of new and die-hard dedicated fans focused on the fabulous themes, theories, characters, context, lore, and more. This is McAnally's Dresden Files Pubcast by Free Flow Rambling. Conjure by it at your own risk.
Welcome to the McAnally's Pubcast, brought to you by Free Flow Rambling. This is episode 17.27, and for my next trick, where we are covering the novel Proven Guilty. My name is Tanzan, and I'm joined by Maggie.
Hello, hello.
And Jess.
74 days. Woo!
Chapter 44. Harry brings Molly to the Warden's meeting place and speaks with Ramirez, who provides some bleak news.
What? No, not Ramirez. So the beetle is back to life.
Yes, Magic Mike lets Harry know that the beetle is dancing again.
Can you imagine someone Harry's size and like Magic Mike? Just like this 7-foot-tall beanpole coming out and swinging.
I don't know. I think a lot of those guys were pretty tall.
I don't think they were almost 7 feet tall, though.
Yeah.
And Harry, again, more of them were like muscly, right? Harry's such like a beanpole still.
And so all limbs and awkward.
Yeah, right.
He is the pole they dance around.
Yeah. I was part of a stripping team. I was the pole. So obviously a day or two or however long was needed to gather everybody together has passed because, you got off the phone and now we're pulling up to the building. Time warp again.
The rundown old warehouse looked different in the orange evening light than it had at high noon. Shadows were longer and darker and emphasized the flaws and dents in the building, giving the place a much more run-down, abandoned appearance that I had remembered. There were fewer cars there as well, and it gave the place an even more abandoned atmosphere. And I was just kind of curious about like the sort of like the shift in description, and like because he sort of changed the mood, and from a writer's perspective, like if that's
from the beginning of the book of the building,
because
or from like the last chapter.
Coming full circle because this is the same building that we start at.
Yes, yeah. We're specifically talking about the building,
and like just this shift in perspective. I was kind of wondering if it's like, because the stakes are higher now because it's with Molly, that it sort of has this more desperate feeling to it, or like...
So probably a combination, because you're right. Your mood affects your outlook and things like that, right?
Because it felt very purposeful in the way it was described, and like him actually noticing that it feels and looks... Yeah. It actually looks different.
And I think there's a little bit of that, right? He is kind of saying he's like, in the daylight, it looks different from... And it's true, right? Sometimes things like that, depending on the lighting, do look better, or right, it hides some of those flaws, you know?
Or simply, was it boring to just not have the same description again?
That too, but I also think it is fair to say that obviously his views are coloring it more, right? Like, he wasn't happy about being here the first time, but it was some complete anonymous stranger who had done horrible, horrible things.
And also, it happened like first thing in the morning. This is now like last thing at night.
But exactly, right? It's just, I think, there's definitely... both. Part of it just being that, the actual literal physical change in lighting would make it appear different. But now the purpose with which he's returning and that he's the cause of it and somebody he knows, I think that's a lot of it.
I think it's a little bit hard because the time travel with like the next morning at sunrise. And then in this chapter as well, we have in a couple pages, Lily says 2 nights went past.
Yeah.
Harry bled, whatever. So the beginning of the book, day 1, execution happens. He goes and does his ritual, bails Nelson out of jail. He goes to bed that night. The next morning, he's running around. He's doing a couple of things with the hospital and...
At the convention hall.
The convention hall or whatever like that. Then he sends some bullshit after Molly, spends the rest of the night running around with Charity and Thomas setting up plans and trying to find where they went in. It's like something like dawn or something like that when they go into the theater with Lily and Fix and storm Arctus Tor.
Oh yeah, don't forget, he snoozed in the car.
Right, he fell asleep in the car.
He's a fan of microsleeps.
Right?
And then kind of 2 days pass while they're in Arctus Tor. It's sunrise after the day you went in, right? That's 2 days.
But again, as far as their time is concerned, it's like jet lag.
A couple of hours.
I'm not talking about
Yeah.
Harry sleeping.
Yeah.
I'm talking about how much time passed in the real
yes.
world.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
And now this, as Lily says, it's now been another day or two since they stormed Arctus Tor. So at minimum, it's been 5 days since the start of this book started. At best, 7 days.
5 to 7, yeah.
It's a little bit hard to say exactly.
Yeah, and he said very minimal.
I could see why the Wizard Council is also a little bit like, bro, we were just fucking here. What the you know how busy we are right now with a war? All of our guys just got murdered the other day.
Yeah, right?
It's, again, one of those things. Everything happens in a weekend, but still, it's like, damn, this was such a... Even for Harry, it's like, this is a fast turnaround. Like, he did almost everything in 48 hours.
It is.
And that does
his
make
own
sense
48
why they're
hours.
like in the next, I think it's the next chapter where they're like, why are we here?
Well, it's
Like,
kind of funny.
Get to it, Dresden, why?
Because I know they made specific mention of it in Summer Night when that council meeting happened, but I feel like part of that was mentioned at the beginning of this book too, where he's like, all the preparation it takes to get all
of
these
us here,
people in from all over and make it all secrety, and you know what I mean? And then again, like 5 days later, you gotta like, okay,
The fact they pulled us together in 2 days.
yeah, right? It was like, I mean, I get obviously important, like, oh, we gotta go kill somebody, let's go, you know what I mean? But at the same time, right, it's like a certain amount of, like, you flew somewhere and 2 days later they're gonna fly you back out, and you're like, holy cow, the crap it takes to organize and schedule and make it all happen for everybody, you know? Like, well, not everybody can get on a flight and do, you know? So yeah, but Ramirez is there waiting. And it's kind of nice because you get this whole thing and you're like, well, where is everybody? And then he like pops out from a veil. So you're like, oh, is it just like him standing outside? Or is like, do you still have like 50 people standing in front of the building that are all veiled right now? Like, you know what I mean? You're like
Standing there picking his nose. Oh, shit.
yeah.
No, but that's why I think it'd actually be really cool because, you know, if you had the special effects of like a TV show to see like that sort of like...
When they cross through the curtain.
Well, exactly. And you do see that there's like you don't know the danger you're in, you know? Oh, it's just me and Ramirez and Molly right now. We're good. But there's actually, you know, Morgan was standing right there with a gun the whole time.
Well,
Like,
exactly, right? Like, yeah, while they're waiting for this, there could have been like 10 people still standing around outside, and then a veil, and then a few feet where they park.
Because even at the beginning of the book, when Ebenezer and Harry are talking, they're both like, there might be some fucking shit going on. I'm not saying anything, but some people I trust
It's like
think that maybe...
It was funny. I was saying this to because like I said, I've been watching a lot of baseball at the other house lately. And again, something they always do when they go out to the pitcher's mound is they all cover up their mouths so the other team can't see what they're plotting and discussing and everything, right? And I'm like, do you ever think they do that? And like, you know, like, do you think when they go to like talk to their wife, they're always like, hey, so I didn't know when I was going to be, you know what I mean? I'm like, do they just all get in the habit of like covering their mouths every time they have to say anything, and they go all around like it's secret, you know, they go to the bank and they're like, yeah, I'd like to take out $20, you know?
That's so funny. It's like when parents lie to their kids and be like, you know, you get a giant spot on your forehead when you lie, right? So then kids walk up to their parents with a fist over their
Yeah, I'm not lying. Yeah. Yeah, exactly, right, yeah. So he pops out, and they have their little usual banter of Ramirez. It's like, yeah, I know, I'm awesome, I'm wonderful. And Harry's like, okay, yeah, sure. So he's like, I need to talk to you. And he's like, okay, I'll be right back. And then Ramirez is like, to Molly, you need to stay right here. And Harry's like, dude, he's like, it's a protocol. Like, I'm not saying she's the threat, but, right? And Harry's like, okay, fine, Molly, just stay here and don't do anything. And then they walk away, and then he was like, that the kid? And I'm like, even if he just phrased it differently, like, so that's the kid or something, like, you know what I mean? But it's just the way he's like, I'm like, so you just said, don't move, don't go anywhere, don't touch anything while I talk to them. And Harry is like, dude, she's not that bad.
Yeah, that's just my girlfriend.
And then you're like, yeah. And then he's like, so is that her? No, it's just some other rando I brought here to like...
I didn't even...
Yeah, just a minor... I'm like, you just should have been like, so that's the kid, huh? Or so, you still could have kind of questioned it and indicated...
She's been mad about it for like 18 years.
Yeah, right? Like, not massive, but I was just like, again, just, one of those little things. I'm like, oh, just
An ellipse
on
would be
me.
better than a question mark.
Right? Exactly. Mm-hmm. So anyways, and then, he pulls out the thing. He's like, Ramirez isn't even old enough to be calling anybody else a kid.
Fix is kind of a useless moron to us. Oh, by the way, all your friends are going to go die. Okay, bye. Have fun with Arctus Tor. Ramirez actually is like, here's the information. Here's what went down. Here's how that went.
Ramirez has also examined the victims in question, so like Rosie and Nelson and stuff like that, to get corroboration of, something happened, how bad is it, whatever, right? So he's done his due diligence there. And Ramirez is picking up that there's like an underlying thread here. He's like, you know this person, don't you? And Harry's like, yeah. And he's like, shit. He's like, why? He's like,
because this ain't gonna go your favor.
No, we got fucked the other day.
And what do you mean? Why? So yeah, and then we find out the battle in Oregon, how it played out. So once Summer was freed up, they came in to help out. The vamps were in trouble, so they attacked the kidlets, which again, yes, are not literal, but very young,
the new
late
recruits.
teens, young adults, exactly.
If you get rid of the
kill the sprouts,
the
there's
newbies,
nothing.
like then you've got nothing
that
later.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Kill it. Long play.
Nip it in the bud, quite literally. Let's just chop it off before it grows. And also, yes, again, the wizards are also about human life. Like, oh, we don't give a crap. You can attack our own, and we'll just be like, yeah, we'll take the hit if we need to. But you guys are totally going to protect your own if you. And so, yeah, so they got close. Morgan got within reach of the Red King, but he got away.
Which is crazy. Why was the Red King literally there? Honestly, why would he even be at the front lines? It's so weird to me.
Maybe their numbers are kind of dwindling too.
Maybe, but that's just so weird to me.
Yes and no, though. And again, I'm basing this only off of other, like, war-related fiction I've read, because I am no strategist and know nothing about. But I mean, again, when you read like the sword and horse fantasies kind of a thing, the commanders kind of have to be there. They're not on the front line.
I get way back when the kings actually had to go to their own wars, this is the 21st century.
It is, but it's still the vamps and the wizards. They're fighting with swords, for God's sakes. They're not out there with tanks.
I don't know. I see why the Merlin would be there, but I don't see why the...
But I can see, again, this was a large... The vamps kind of thought this one was going to be in the bag, so I can kind of see, because they didn't think there was as much of a risk or a threat. Yeah. So the king being there,
he wanted to do his victory dance.
Ready to do his victory dance when they hand over this major loss again and stuff like that. So yeah.
I take it more as a queen bee thing. Like the red vampire can turn, or the king can turn way more vampires way faster than the
council
rest of them.
Can.
So it's like, let's bring the queen with us so that they can just give us more bees as fast as we need them.
Maybe there's an element to that as well. We haven't talked about it as much with this, but we did kind of see with Susan that she had a fairly quick turnaround, because they went, the next day? And she was already having all of her, they'd bitten her right away.
Yeah,
and
but
within that 24-hour period,
faster,
she was
like more stronger if it comes from the king.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, yes, that gives us a bit of a timeline that, she hadn't succumbed to it. But yes, in that amount of time, as soon as Harry went back to visit her or to rescue her, was no more than like 24 hours, right? And already she was. So yes, in theory, yes, they can turn them over quite quickly. But anyways, so didn't manage it. They get away, and he's like, okay, well, that sucks, but what about it? And he's like, well, everybody else went to go aid in the rescue. So nobody on you. So yeah, Harry's like, fuck, because in the last book, he's like, I don't have a lot of friends, but the ones I do are on the senior council. And they're like, so all of your friends on the senior council aren't here.
Yeah, they all went to go
Merlin
rescue
has
the little...
all of the votes now.
But not even that, but... we haven't even heard from them yet. They went in to save, and that's all we know.
And that's
still up in the air. We don't know what happened.
So he's like, they went in and they attacked the newbies. He's like, so what happened? Yeah, we don't know.
McCoy listens to Wind,
and
they're
Martha
still
Liberty.
there.
Yeah. So they're like, we haven't heard they're all dead, but we haven't heard they're all alive. So exactly, yeah. So he's like, they all went running off to hell, but that's the last.
Which is even more of I would come back here and slap the shit out of Dresden for pulling us away for this thing. Because okay, fine. I guess a dark wizard is a huge, dangerous thing that they need to snuff out immediately before they have even bigger problems and stuff like that. I get. But also at the same point, we could also be there helping them, but because of you, all your friends are going to die now, Harry.
Yeah. In fairness, obviously, none of these people...
The Merlin's like, oh, this is the best opportunity for me to get the fuck rid of you.
Well, that too. But yes and no, I do totally get what you're saying. At the same time, obviously, these are all the people that aren't there. Because if they had gone...
Yeah, but they could have gone. They could be going there right now and, helping the cause, but yes. But anyways.
I'm just baffled that when the senior council member can't be there and they can't send a proxy, that it automatically just goes to the Merlin. That's the worst sort of... There's no democracy there. That's a biased system.
Well, it is, but I can kind of...
It's like the Speaker of the House should not have that.
And I was going to say, in this situation, it's a little bit fun because they are, because I was going to say, well, in peace times, you're not. But I'm like, they're not really in peace times. They are in the middle of the war. You'd think they would have 2 or 3 contingencies set up seeing as they definitely are in the middle of a huge conflict and anybody could be going off at any time. So yeah, that's a little bit poor that they didn't. But again, just the fact
that many
that
proxy votes going to one person is just
that's
like,
crazy,
why
though.
wouldn't half those proxy votes go to the other senior council member that's going to end up showing
But we
their
don't know.
face?
So, I mean, that's what Ramirez says right here. He's like, as far as I know, the Gatekeeper's not coming. Your 3 are off saving the wizards. Mai is stationed somewhere, and Fortier is holding down the fort over here. So Mai and Fortier had specifically given, they could have given their proxies to anyone. Mm-hmm. They could have given them to the Gatekeeper or whatever. But again, they're the 2, as we saw from Harry's whole thing in book 4, that they're kind of buddy-buddy with the Merlin anyway. So we have no problem giving our votes to them. And then again...
And I think it just happens to
Ebenezer,
be, just by default, Merlin gets it.
Kind of, yeah, I do kind of see in that situation, like, okay, well, he is the head of it. If anybody is going to take it, it makes sense to hand it over to the person in charge.
And as much as Harry hates him, and, we all have a good reason to hate him, it's also been stated, he got his position by being a fucking strong motherfucker who knows how to stay alive and make these tough choices,
Yeah, he's a politician, and he is someone to be reckoned with kind of a thing. It's not all just political maneuvering. He's got the chops to back it up.
Overall, him having the proxy votes shouldn't be a problem. It's just,
Yeah, again, and most of the time probably, but again, and this, exactly right. It's only a problem if you've got a real personal hate on for each other. then maybe.
But Harry, knowing his luck, he has a plan. Well, I knew this was going to be shitty, so...
Well, I love it. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong, so I'm not surprised that way.
My best friend's name is Murphy, come on.
I was going to say, that's the best thing, too, is he's finally learning enough. Oh, plan A, B, and C will suck, so that's why I'm starting to do D, E, and F, too. It's like, oh, finally, bro.
Yeah, right.
So, speaking of that plan...
But like all his other magical gadgets and potions, he'll never use it again. He planned for it this one time in the contingency, but now he will never again have plans D, E, and F. It's like, it worked once, I'm just gonna say, okay, we use that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Introduce our guests.
So, yeah.
Fix and Elite pull-up, which is so fucking genius when you get down to it.
Yeah.
Harry, you are so smart.
Yeah, who are you gonna argue with? The fucking heir to the throne? I don't think so.
Yeah.
So yeah, Ramirez is, again, more confused, and Harry, again, is just like, don't worry about it, you'll find out. So, thanks, Harry.
Yeah, introductions are made and they go through the magical security, and the animated temple dogs are on the scene again. Mm-hmm. But they seem to sort of handle Molly just almost exactly how Mouse had in the beginning of the book, like a little...
Yeah,
okay,
right?
You're telling me to back
fine.
off, yeah. Okay.
I'm kind of uncomfortable with you, but I'll let it slide.
And it's a nice little callback, too, where Harry's like, yeah, I'm kind of, once bitten, twice shy. Or like, yeah, one of them almost ate me before. I was like, God, I don't have any like serious magical injuries or anything this time. Because so he's definitely leery, and the thing's like, yeah, okay, whatever, you're cool this time. But
Phew.
Oh, I love how Ramirez points into this too, and Harry's like, it's all fine. He's like, Harry, there's nobody you can't make look bad. Like, it doesn't matter how good they are. They're, because he's like, oh, you're wonderful. Ramirez is like, I don't care how good we are. There's like no one you can't make look bad, Dresden. I'm like, fair.
Now, Harry says that one of the scariest parts about his execution was the bag over his head. He didn't know who was there. He didn't know who was around him. All he knew is that he was just all alone in the world by himself, and he might never see the light of day again.
Exactly. And I don't know that I necessarily would have articulated it the same way. But again, he's like, it basically dehumanizes you.
Yeah.
He's like, nobody knew who I was. Nobody gave a fuck. I was just, and I'm like, you know what? There absolutely is so much to that, right? Like, I don't want to see it happen, you know what I mean? They're like, do that behind, like, okay, I don't care, war, but don't show me the pictures of war, right? And exactly, right? That is like very, very true that you're just a nameless, faceless somebody who did bad things. So much easier, right? The world is black and white. The bad guys can all, and then again, like he says, nobody sets out to be the bad guy usually. Like, do I see the bad guy when I look in the mirror? No. I'm a basically good person trying to do decent things until you suddenly can point out 10 things that that's how bad this was. And you're like, oh, well, I didn't mean, exactly, right? So, again, another very powerful because, Ramirez is like, here you go. Harry's like, I don't fucking think so.
And that's why it's even worse that Ramirez makes a good point about it and being like, don't give the Merlin anything to use against you. You gotta play everything by the book.
This is protocol. If you don't like it, you shouldn't have asked me, which is fair. Yeah, that, and like you say, not only from their perspective, but again, being that person, like you say, with those senses cut off, and not knowing what's going on around you, not reading facial expressions or anything that is, because, as we'll see in a little while, right, Molly's like, what's going on? Everybody just stopped talking, but I don't know what's going on, right?
Again, we get, Harry, when he recalls back to his own time, he's like, I hadn't even known who was there. To this day, I don't know who was there.
Yeah.
I can see, Molly also is walking into this room, and all she knows is Harry.
Exactly, yeah. The only ones he could identify. And again, I don't even know if he knew Ebenezer before that. I sort of feel like that was his first
Yeah, no, he didn't know Ebenezer either.
So yeah, it was like basically Merlin and the Ebenezer.
And he said Ebenezer wasn't even at his case. He got shunted onto Ebenezer because even Ebenezer didn't even come to the case to say he didn't want Dresden.
Oh yeah, you're right. That was part of it. So he didn't even...
Which means I assume that Ebenezer actually sent word forward and said I want him, I just can't be there. But yeah, they...
Oh yeah, he makes the joke. He's like, yeah, I don't dare miss one of these things. Last time I did, they stuck this 16-year-old
But you don't know that. For all we know, he actually had been there, but Harry doesn't know.
Yeah, I was like, in order for someone to have argued your case, I feel like, so yes, I got you know what you're referencing now. But regardless, yeah, very, very isolating, very, very scary.
And especially because having one of these trials means you have no introduction to the magical world, which means you wouldn't have met any of these people, and you don't have even a little bit of basis to go off of. Presumably, if you'd met these people beforehand, you wouldn't be in this position.
And it's in Latin.
That too.
Which, just... It can be.
Well, I was going to say,
they have horror movie scenes that are, some sort of chanting going on in Latin.
Yeah, it's fine when we're executing the Italian kids, but it's not very fair when we start executing the Americans.
Yeah, well, and that's the other very good point that Harry, again, Justin being Justin may have started some introductory Latin as part of the whole magical. But again, we know Harry's not great at it now, so whether he had any at all or a little bit, yeah, he wouldn't have understood what the fuck was going on in his whole trial because of that. So yeah. Whether someone was arguing on his behalf or not.
I think it says something around there that he, didn't really have it's just like a one sentence or something about him not, his was in Latin and he didn't really, couldn't understand what was going on.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, and again, just the humanness, right? Where he's like, if I put it on, and then it's like, okay, better.
Yeah.
And Ramirez is like, dude, I'm like, again, I get it. He's like, it wasn't really Ramirez's fault, but same. I probably would have, same thing. I would have been bitchy about it too. Been like, okay, you happy now?
Still, I held Molly's hand and took her in.
Was there a reason that Harry specifically asked for Ramirez as security?
Kind of. In the next chapter, you'll see there's a little bit of a...
Because I might have overlooked that then.
Well, it almost doesn't come to it. But in the moment between the Merlin saying, sorry, we're going to execute her, and then the Gatekeeper being like, I still haven't voted, it's presumed that if Ramirez was working on Morgan's side, he might have done a little bit more, step up, hold the girl down.
So it's just really, he's kind of hoping that
I think he's more hoping that Ramirez...
some leniency?
Exactly. Instead of putting someone that doesn't like Harry.
Yeah, and more to that, I think it's because... he has forged a bond with Ramirez as a deadbeat. He knows he's seen the true metal of him, right? He knows that he's not just a council lapdog like the old generation.
That's the thing. He only has friends on the senior council and Ramirez.
Yeah, so he knows, right, that him and Ramirez work together well. He knows that Ramirez is because Ramirez basically told him in the last book, he's like, you don't realize how many of us look up to you. Yeah. That's the old school. You are...
So it's more kind of a speculation rather than I
think
said.
Partially just having another friend there who he trusts and knows, but also ensuring Ramirez is there because they clearly are bringing in everyone. Everyone's stretched pretty thin. So by purposely naming him, it's like, okay, at least I know Ramirez will be there.
I was going to say, he knows Ramirez will go buy the book. He's not some toady for the Merlin or something like that. He knows Ramirez will do fair.
You know the younger crowd wants you. You need the younger crowd to tout me. I need some witnesses. I need to make sure at least one young person's there to talk about how cool I am when I'm dead.
Yeah, so I think it's partially just speaking to that, we're buddies, but I trust Ramirez is going to be as unbiased as he can.
Or even better, had Harry died in this, well, at least Ramirez will, bury me.
Right. Because now Ramirez will avenge my...
Probably not avenge, but at least, that he won't let him throw me in a dump.
Yeah. But yeah, I always assumed it was more that. It was that he's like, I know this guy is on the up, and I know he's good, so his protection will be good. I also know he's on the up and up, and he's not going to let the Merlin pull something shady just for the sake of pulling something shady, right? So again, even Morgan, right?
He fought a necromancer with me. He can do some light security.
Well, I was going to say, Harry's becoming more that way with Morgan. Now, again, after the last book and stuff like that, he's like, okay, we kind of respect each other a little bit now. But again,
because they had the war cries, so they've already dealt with the Shoggoth.
Well, but that's the thing, right? But even up until then, not
team.
Not only would he not have put it past him, but book 4 proved that Morgan would bend the rules to the Merlin to get right. Which is like, Ramirez is not going to do that.
Yeah.
Whether I'm right or whether I'm wrong. Whereas Morgan was like, well, I can't prove it, so sure, if we can just entrap him, I'm fine with that, right?
Good enough.
Yeah.
Chapter 45. Lady Summer bestows honors to Morgan and Harry and explains to the council that Harry's actions in Arctus Tor saved the wizards in the latest war effort. Harry mounts a winning argument to save Molly, but the Merlin mandates her immediate death as a warlock in spite.
Back to our lovely word imagery. Blood might's not stain a warden's cloak, but it's all but impossible to get out of an old porous concrete floor.
Nice circling back.
Okay, here we are again. Pool of blood on the floor. Great.
I love a good callback.
Right?
To murder. So immediately Harry can tell that they're all roughed up. Everyone looks like they've been through the ringer.
Yeah. Morgan's got some cuts and scrapes, and everybody looks tired. And here's where we get that little nod, right? Where he's like, I still don't really like Morgan, but now I understand him a little better, and I have like a grudging pittance of respect. And Morgan kind of does the same thing.
That same thing for Morgan is the weird part.
Like, he gives me basically the same...
We both understood in that moment that we will fight each other on this, and I will lose. But, oh well, that's both of us playing the roles we gotta play.
That's both of us playing. But again, it is interesting to see the shifts in their dynamic and stuff like that. Because again, it wasn't even that long ago where Morgan was still like, don't give 2 fucks. You might have got off the hook because you made you managed to get a Hail Mary and save some shit, but I still think you are just...
Harry came off the Doom of Damocles 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
It's not that much time.
Yeah, exactly.
He spent a decade under it, and then...
And Summer Night was not that long ago where, as we just were mentioning, whether by hook or by crook, Morgan was willing to do, right? But now, as he said last book, whatever, I don't think you're doing it all out of intentionally evil, whatever, right? I still think you're a fucking dumbass. And you play fast and loose with the rules, and you're
and that's dangerous in of itself.
Yeah. He's like, you're risky, but again, he's like, now I can see that, okay, you are coming from, basically a decent place. And exactly, he sort of gets in that moment that Harry is like, I am gonna die on this hill. And Morgan is like, I can respect you, again, standing up for somebody else. Again, Morgan knows, because Morgan is the one that would have chopped Harry's head off, right? So...
He's come a long way.
Come a long way, but yeah, still exactly. I am still in this role, you are still in that role, and we will each, fulfill all roles if it comes down to that.
Well, and the Merlin already knows something's up because he's not even, giving him, snide shit. He's just kind of like, the fuck you guys?
Staring. But mercy upon mercies, who arrives? Gatekeeper.
Da-da-da-da.
I wrote a big...
Yay!
Yes. The Gatekeeper who set him off to go find Molly in the first place.
Oh, and the even better part is where, the Merlin was like, come sit over here. And he's like, I'm just gonna sit.
Positioning himself between Harry.
Halfway between, not one side or the other.
Kind of a neutral place.
So kind of a snub, but he's like, I'm not saying I'm throwing in on Harry's, but basically
It's a very passive...
basically him just saying, you're there. I'm not for or against either one of you, kind of a thing. But still the tiniest bit of a snub just because he doesn't go stand with the Merlin as the only other part of the senior council.
Harry, why did you invite Lily and Fix? Merlin immediately opens this up in Latin, and Harry immediately says, Fairies don't care about our dumb archaic shit.
And they would be offended.
It would be so rude of us to speak in a language that they can't understand when they just fucking helped us.
Which I love that Harry has this card to pull out of his sleeve, but at the same time, I also find it super hilarious for a couple of reasons. Every other time we have met fairies in this world, and pretty much any other world, they're always very, same things like Buffy says about the vampires. They fucking stick with their shit. They move so slowly with the times. And they still...
but these are newbies.
No, but I know, but they still talk, all Shakespearean, right? He's like, it doesn't frickin' matter, but these things always pull out their, how dare thee fathom the, you know what I mean? And Harry sometimes mocks him for it, but then he's like, oh, okay, I'll also do it, because that's how they, you know what I mean? So I feel like, but Latin was around way the fuck before English was, which is why it was the English of the times. But right now, virtually everybody from another country, we don't know other people's languages, but everybody knows English, right? That was Latin at one time when they, conquered everybody, right? So funny, it's like, again, so yes, Fix and Lily are current, right? So Aurora may have been how many thousands of years older?
But won't it be funny, though, if Fix and Lily, 1,000 years from now, they're still in the same role and they keep speaking like it's 2004?
Right? that could well be, right? That might be Fix and Lily in the future, that like, this is when our...
And that sounds archaic.
Yeah. I don't think Fix can live that long, but yes, Lily might.
But yes.
But yes.
Sorry.
Yeah, maybe not quite.
I don't think the knights are living.
I think you probably get an extra little kick with them, but probably not even quite as much.
I think just better health. So you're
but
like
I was going to say maybe not even as quite as far as not quite as far as maybe even wizards live. But I feel like it would give you a little bit of with the power. But
I'm going to retire, and then he turns to dust.
Yeah, but aside from the knight from
You Have Chosen Wisely.
Yes.
Indiana
Jones.
Jones.
No, I know, but what the fuck
and
is
The Last Crusade.
The Last Crusade, thank you. I just had the Last Raiders, and I'm like, what the fuck, the Last Crusade, yeah. So there's that, where I'm like, okay, chances are there's, but also, again, they're fucking magical. You telling me these guys can't do like a translation spell?
I would agree that they should be able to do a translation spell, but also I could see the fairies being like, I don't want to.
Yeah, and I mean, again, especially on this side when they're kind of here for Harry, Lily would not take that, but yeah, it's just kind of funny. I'm like, I'm all
fairies
for
of all
it.
people, and,
but at the same time,
inviting the alphas or something might make
he's like, magic is just like, again, why none of their magic ever affects human electronics like his does. He's like, it's just natural to them like breathing, right? So it's not, but yeah, so I was like, I honestly think they totally would be fine, but I love that you can pull that, and that Lily is not going to
at least she's willing to play this far.
Yeah.
You just
whether she can or not.
You want to be a better friend starting now?
Yeah.
But yes, I'm sure if you invited Matt or Titania, they wouldn't be able to be like, oops, I haven't learned Latin yet.
Yeah.
My bad.
That too, right, exactly. It might be a harder sell or whatever, right? So yeah, I love that, she gives them that out. And again, it's funny because you're like, oh yeah, I don't really, like, again, we saw him stumble through it before. When he spells it out for you and he's like, the Merlin probably figured this was a way because I would look like a... And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, extra fair point. Not only would you just be struggling, but you're right. You do such a shitty job of trying to defend her that it would sound so... that you're, again, the power of words. Even though you're trying to express those same conditions, right? The fact that if it comes out with not the right intent or pronunciation, right, it does make it sound that much more ridiculous and not serious, right?
Well, and I was going to call this moment when I was writing my notes and I hadn't written because I'm writing my notes as I'm reading. I wrote that this was like a really nice power play for him just to be able to call Summer Court in at all, especially with the victory, but without even knowing what exactly how they're going to boost it. Yeah, he doesn't even realize this is already a power play. He's like, look, I got the back of the fucking fairies, guys.
Yeah, again, the crown princess here. I have the heir to the throne.
Look, I think that the Latin is kind of a side thing.
Bodyguard.
Like that does help him, but it's also
this is exactly my point.
Look who's in my corner.
Just last chapter, Ramirez says, okay, well, introduce me to them, obviously. Like, I want to know that. Like,
is that who I think it is? Harry?
Most of us don't have a chance to go right up to the royalty and be like, hello, hi, this is who I am.
I'm sorry, did Betty White just show up to your birthday party? Can you fucking introduce me?
Exactly. Like, what? So it's very much for the fact that Harry's like, guess who I called?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, by the way, they're with me. Yeah.
You guys keep insisting I go talk to the fairies. Well, guess what?
I've talked to them a lot now, and we're best buds.
Yeah,
so.
I talked to a lot of them, actually.
Yeah. Shot yourself in the foot with that one, didn't you, Merlin? You just hoped they'd kill me and that was it. But not only did they not kill him, now we're buddies. Not kill me, but...
So, a little bit more of Harry's plot starts to unfold. He wants Lily and Fix, fuck you, Fix. We want Lily to address the council.
Fix, just stand there and look not pretty.
Exactly. You drive the motorcycle. That's really all we need you for.
I did have to make a little note there of that Lily glanced over her shoulder at me and winked. I twitched. It looked exactly like the gesture from the statue that might have been Mab.
Yeah. Poor Smith.
That was a nice little moment that made me a little bit skin crawly. Like, ooh.
Yeah.
We've already been given some sort of illusions that all 6 queens kind of look like each other.
I was just going to say, it brings back in how the mantles, all that, because, the physical form now
Aurora could be Lily's, could be Maeve's sister, right? And even though Lily was her own person, once she became a queen, that's some sort of fey magic
now
seems
she's
to have
starting
to
because we already know just how dangerous Mab is. So for her to start having these qualities,
again, sweet innocent Lily, who because her poor tragic backstory of, all anybody wanted from her was her looks, and she wasn't very confident, and she wasn't very secure, and Meryl was like, we're roommates, because I don't think Lily could hack it on her. Like, maybe eventually she will mature and grow into it, but right now, the experiences she's been through, she's not, right? And then we're like, by the way, have a shit ton of fucking power.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And yes, right? So
this has never gone wrong before.
Never gone wrong before, ever, right? So exactly, just in these few short years, how much she is being indoctrinated into the whole thing. And yeah.
Well, I mean,
she's still Lily, but also
let's look at this as the very first move that we've ever seen Lily conduct on her own was basically the biggest mastermind, pull a fast one on the Wizards and the Summer Court and the Winter Court.
Yeah.
If you're gonna do it, I guess.
And cahoots with your enemy to do it.
Yeah.
So to speak, exactly. It's just so, yeah. She's growing up quick.
Exactly. Yeah, the Lily of Book 4, where it was, what the fuck is going on?
I was waiting for Meryl to die and just give me some room.
Who's looking after who now, bitch? Yeah. Just love how when she opens it up, because he's just expecting, like, Harry's got in his mind why he called her.
I gave you the script.
I was going to say, we don't really know exactly what
She's off book. She's off book. What the fuck? She's off book.
Yeah, exactly, that she starts. And he's like, what the fuck is this? And Fix is just like, pulls a Harry on him. Just wait. Yeah. Like, I know, but I'm not going to tell you.
Credit where credit is due, okay? Lily comes in strong, motherfucker.
Oh,
Begin the flattery of Morgan and presents him with the Order of the Silver Oak, declares him a friend and esquire of the Summer Court, and bestows him a one-time boon from Titania herself.
One get-out-of-jail-free card, or, get-out-of-death card, or, whatever the fuck you
have specifically garnered the attention and admiration of the Summer Court. That's pretty heavy.
And, the heads of the ruling bodies of the Summer Court, not even just somebody in it, you know what I mean?
And interesting to choose Morgan as well as receiver of that first boon.
And that's what I love. That's what I was going to comment. I love how she's like, I'm here because of Harry. So everyone's expecting the first thing she does is not Harry.
Yeah.
Right? She's
builds the Morgan compliments. You did an amazing, fantastic, so insanely impressive thing. We are so insanely impressed that there is only one person who can match all the insanely impressive things you did. Harry Dresden.
Yeah. But exactly right.
Because he almost kills the Red King. Yeah.
Yeah, came close. Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, again, take that.
I'm really fascinated of Morgan's behavior. This entire thing is just not sort of his regular status quo behavior.
But you know what? I think because a guy like, he's not like Rudolph, where he's purposely trying to like needle and nose and gain favor and, be noticed by the big tops. Morgan genuinely believes in everything that he does. He's gotten to his position just literally being so steadfast in this is the way that things are done.
I was going to say, yeah.
He's not out there being like, oh, I hope a Queen of Fairy notices me and gives me a boon.
He's not bending the rules to brown nose. He's bending the ruls because he legitimately thinks that's the only way to uphold his,
So he's not used to receiving.
He genuinely
accolades,
is in the Merlin's camp, right? That is the thing. He's not doing it to be a toady, to suck up, to be a yes man, right? Exactly. So that is what is really interesting. So we didn't really see much of him for a little while there, but now these last couple of times, book 4, book 7 and stuff like that, right? They finally, after 10, 12, 15 years of being these adversaries and, just being like, you were just all bad and fucking stupid. You were just fucking a shithead who follows all the rules and doesn't think for himself.
To be able to understand each other, yeah.
Exactly, to see bit by bit these moments. And again, it's like that was more Morgan's take with Harry. He's like, I have a specific hate on for you and everything that I thought I knew you stood for. Really, Morgan has compassion for other things, right? And again, the burden of being that, like, in any context, right? The burden of being, judge and execute. I say it all the time. I'm like, I think the world is fucked, but I'm so glad I'm not the one that has to make those decisions, right?
Furthermore, you don't earn a Purple Heart, by checking off a list. You don't go into war like, I'm going to get a Purple Heart. I'm going to make sure that everything lines up. Morgan is just fighting for his life and the life of others and trying to get out of it. And now he's being rewarded. He's, I never expected this sort of. I didn't do it for the reward.
I didn't do it for the reward, exactly. We were in a bad place. So, we helped out the fairies who helped out us who, right, came this close to getting the king.
Yeah, it wasn't even, oh, Morgan, please come to this ceremony to honor you. It was literally out of nowhere. Like, hey, we recognize that you did awesome. Here you go.
Well, that's one of the other things that I really like about this is that it also shows that even like some of the more minor characters that they also too show growth and character development, even if it's just, to me, this was really subtly.
Yes. I've said it before.
Subtly different, that you can see that he's like not that same hard-nosed
He's not just black and white. He's not two-dimensional.
Jim Butcher does a really good job of evolving the whole world together. It's not just Harry in place evolving and nothing else around him. Every time you come back to these characters, they've been living their own lives and hitting their own milestones and doing their own growth. And we're not seeing it in the same constant that we are seeing Dresden's, but it is nice to come back and be like, oh shit, this was the projection, trajectory, whatever you were on, and here's the proof of what that's been turning into.
Or again, like you say, oh, so they had this woo-hoo, oh my gosh, I suddenly understand you moment 3 books ago, and now he's just back to being like, well, I fucking hate you and everything you did is wrong. You're like, wait, but they...
Yeah, that's really bad for TV shows. It's like, oh, we rehabilitated the villain in season 1, but then we got renewed for season 2, so the villain's actually not rehabilitated anymore. We changed our mind.
But yeah,
whatever,
exactly,
you know?
right. Yeah, we're painting ourselves into a corner, so we're just going to pretend a bunch of this shit didn't happen or whatever, right?
Makes it really excited for like any sort of mirror type of stuff. Just how different you can make it.
Morgan being all puppies and flowers and like the sensitive, type. Oh my gosh.
One day. So, again, to say all of those accolades on Morgan and say that there is only one person who can compare with your braveries of the last week, Harry Dresden, will you please come to the floor?
Yeah. Who else gets an order of the Silver Oak and a boon?
For the entire conclave now to be like, what the fuck did Harry do?
Well,
he hasn't been here for any of this shit.
Merlin's just plain old like rude about it.
I was going to say, yeah, right, for all of his propriety, he feels no qualm. Like, again, he's so taken aback. He interrupts the summer lady to be like, excuse me, this asshole was not there. What the fuck do you mean, he yelled?
But we've been saying the same thing. Harry started a war and then never goes to it at all. He's not in the front line. He hasn't participated in shit. He hasn't done anything. Yeah. I understand from the Merlin's and Morgan's point of view being like, who the fuck is this guy to get an order? And then Lily to turn it around and be like, no. He's been doing reconnaissance and espionage behind your back to help and aid you. And here's all the shit that he did. And then being all...
And you would all be dead if it weren't for him.
He led a small party into Arctus Tor itself and set fire to the motherfucker.
Which is how we were able to spend...
and I love where Harry's like...
Just watch the spinning and the chess pieces move with that whole speech.
Oh,
beautiful.
So good.
And that's not why Lily did it. That's not why Harry did it. But the fact that she can turn it that way and be like, are we now good, Harry?
Exactly.
Are we now good?
And I love, right, that Harry's like, what the fuck? I didn't know. And Fix is like, but did she lie?
So he didn't even lose.
Not one
he
word
didn't even
is
technically
untrue.
lose his boon. He just elevated it. Like,
Spin Doctor.
100%.
Now it's Titania that owes him the boon.
Yeah. No kidding. Yeah, he traded in a Lily boon for a Titania boon. You're absolutely right. And that's exactly, that whole speech about Lily manipulating him, and that's not fair, and you've been a better friend to me, but I do like Lily B. So we good now?
Yeah.
How about you shut the fuck up next time?
You like that?
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So I took what could have been a potential disaster in every way, shape, and form, and totally made you come out smelling like roses.
Yeah, mic drop, if ever, right there.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic. Yeah. Because again, we know that was not sort of like the intentions and how it went down. So I think it was just as good a reveal for us, like when I was reading it to be like, oh shit. Like again, right? We're kind of like with Harry and Fix. That's not what happened. But Fix being, did she lie?
It was good.
She didn't say one thing that was untrue, and you're like, oh, well, yeah. So yeah, beautiful. Where just literally the Merlin is basically jaw dropped to the floor.
And she also kisses Harry on the cheek, which is a little bit more of just almost possession. Yeah.
A little bit. This is my
guy.
She
didn't even kiss Morgan on the cheek as like good job.
Yeah, this isn't part of the, I have to hug you for the camera. I have to shake your hand for the photo.
Exactly, but I think it's even more a credit to Dresden's relationship to be, you wanted me to make friends with the fairies.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
First you asked me to make a path through winter, did that, and now look what I got summer to do.
Which is gotta be the most frustrating thing, because they keep sending Harry to go die, and they're like, yeah, go solve the fucking fairy war, you piece of shit. And he comes back, he's like, okay, I solved it, and I'm friends with all the fairies, and they're like, wait, what? Not only did you not die, but now you're friends with them?
Right, exactly. And like you say, elements in both camps. Not even just like, I'm friend with the good fairies. That's like, I'm friends with the good and the bad fairies.
Seelie and unseelie are all mine.
All mine. Every soul who came...
command some of those wild fae, too.
Tooting them, right? Yeah.
And then finally she wraps it up with, Winter's now returned to their borders, so there's nothing we can do. Stay the fuck out of the Never for now.
Yeah.
Okay. Good to know. Thanks. Bye.
But yeah, again, just that conclusion from her, yeah. Every soul who came safe home again from the battle owes his life to Harry Dresden and his courage. Now go ahead and shit on him, Merlin. He just saved all your guys' asses. And he wasn't even there. Like you said, he wasn't even in that battle, and he still fucking saved Jill.
It's like a happy little tree accident.
Yeah.
It's
no
technically
accident.
true, but it wasn't meant to be.
I didn't know that's what I was. Well, no,
No.
because if you'd known that's what you were doing, you would have shit your pants and crawled into that hole and pulled it in after you, like you keep threatening to do.
All right, moving on to part 2. Harry, why the fuck are we here?
Yes. This is Molly, everybody. She did some bad things, but she's really, really sorry.
She's broken the 4th law, but she's here to repent.
Don't really care, but okay, fine. What did she do? Okay, she messed with some friends.
To me, that Harry has picked up some of the tips that the fairies have used, because everything he's saying is very true.
Learning
and he's using quite
much as he wants to
specific
do a
language.
big fuck you to the Merlin and has already taken a couple, he's learning a little bit the politics.
To be
Sometimes
fair,
you gotta play the game.
You don't have to spin Molly's intentions. She really was actually trying to do all this
Yes.
out of the goodness of her heart. To be fair, like that none of that part is a lie. She really was thinking she was doing a good thing.
No, but again, rather than just being like, hey, don't be such a douchebag, right, Harry's learning to phrase it. He's learning the lawyering a little bit, the how to try and sound like he's appeasing and playing along and not trying to purposely piss him off.
I think his language was perfectly used for her argument.
Yeah. He was like, hey, look, she's this young kid, barely 17. She was trying to save these 2 people and their little teeny unborn baby. She'd already lost a baby. Like, it was just good. She just, didn't know.
Now, Ramirez checked the victims, as we've already gone over, and the Merlin presses him on this now. He's like, oh, we're going to believe you little baby. And Ramirez is like, as an appointed motherfucker of the East Coast, how about you
West Coast, yeah.
The West
the
Coast.
whole Western region.
Yeah, and I do enjoy that a lot. However, Ramirez thinks that both will come to a complete recovery eventually, and Harry wasn't so sure. Now, is that because Ramirez doesn't have as much practice and doesn't know, or is this something that Ramirez excels in better than Harry does and has a better understanding because Harry doesn't do much mind control magic? Or is this Ramirez, like, having confidence in his friend? He's like, well, Dresden asked me to look, so probably it's
And
gotta
this-
be
Is he smudging the truth?
This
any of the above.
Yeah, this I wondered a little bit too when he's like, I think they'll, because you're right, Harry was like, I don't really know. And
Like,
Ramirez
the
is
girl
like,
possibly, but Nelson, I don't think at all.
yeah, and exactly, now Ramirez, yeah, I think that with enough time they can. So again, could very well be any of those things, but again, I could see Ramirez having, because Ramirez has been on the front lines. He is a much more active warden than Dresden was. And again, enough so that after all these other people died, they made him the one, because we found that out when Lucio was like, I don't have any wizards to give you. Carlos is in charge of all of North America, basically.
Yeah.
You get to be in charge around Chicago.
Yeah.
Wild Bill is, you know what I mean? But basically that's it. So he's got the whole fucking continent, and you can mind your little corner of it. So I also feel that, again, circumstances being that Ramirez has done, that he might have sort of more field medic qualifications kind of a thing, right? So I'm like, it is possible that he is able to have had more practice, experience, exposure, whether in seeing it or fixing it or whichever way. But yeah, at least it is encouraging, whether he knows what he's talking about or it's just blowing steam up our skirts, I don't know. But at least you're like, okay, well, fine. It might not be as bad as, which again, speaks a little bit well on Molly's part that, yeah, she didn't, in all her good meddling, didn't turn him into Mickey
There's
Malone.
hope.
There's hope. Yeah, it might not actually be as bad.
Those other people still died, but these 2. Yeah, don't bring up the ones that she got murdered.
Yeah, let's not bring about all the people that the movie monsters did kill. We're gonna forget about those now.
I'm going to say that I did enjoy his little senility jab.
Oh, yeah. And and again, this is why Harry wanted Ramirez here, too, right? Because he's like, see? Because, yeah, but it was
I'm
fantastic.
not the only mouthy one.
Unless you're too fucking senile to remember that you gave me this. But yes, this is my opinion.
And I wrote down on this, like, the Merlin pretty much flings the same exact insult at Harry right after he did that. Like, yeah, maybe he is getting senile if he's, that's a weak play. Weak play.
Yeah.
Weak play.
Getting desperate. You're like, that's...
But the fact that both Merlin and Ramirez look at the Summer Lady and Knight and realize that they're not showing good manners and they need to calm down and don't insult each other in front of the witnesses and whatever.
Don't air your dirty laundry.
Don't air your dirty
in
laundry,
public.
right?
Yeah.
And then just a couple of paragraphs later, you've got Harry, he's being a little bitch, and everyone's like, hey, the Winter Lady, and he's like, I've met him.
I knew her before she was the Summer Lady, okay?
Run whoever the hell I want. No one gives a fuck what I say anyways.
I knew her when she was nothing but a naked marble statue. I made her what she is.
Oh, was I rude? Do you want me to stab you?
I'll get my doctor's valise slowly, just you watch me.
And this where Harry's next play is to like point out that the thin numbers of wizards is the root of the issue. It's not because there's the instances of the wardens having to deal with warlocks is because there's nobody to teach them because everyone's been fucking decimated.
It's a problem created by themselves. They can't collect the young wizards, so they have to collect the bad wizards.
Yeah. It's easier sort of to pick that out once they've started doing things. Because, yeah, exactly, like you say, right? They, like, obviously can't sense all of them as soon as they start exhibiting magical talent, per se, to be able to find...
It's that same sort of thing they say now, if we invested more in public services, than, libraries and free healthcare and who knows what else, crime would reduce. If everyone had enough to eat and drink and study and do, again, they wouldn't have to steal and thieve and whatever.
Treat the root, not the symptoms, kind of a thing.
This is the problem, is that as Harry has only just starting to learn in this book, is like, it's harder than, it's easier to say than do.
Yeah, it's real easy to stand on the sidelines and be like, oh my God, I can't believe you guys are, but again, once he's in the thick of it, because, right? Chapter 1, I don't agree with this. I don't like this. Everything in this, my heart is rebelling against. But if you sit back and ask me logically, I don't know that I can disagree. You know what I mean? Like, this guy has now done terrible, horrible things, and I don't know if there is any redemption for this poor kid. So, yeah, it's real easy to sit on the sidelines when you don't have all the facts. It's real easy to give parenting advice when you've never looked after a child in your life. Well, just make them behave. Like, gee, you think that would be fucking nice, wouldn't it? But yeah,
That's
exactly.
why I beat my children.
Yeah.
Right. And after that, he uses these great tactics, because he pulls off the hood to humanize Molly and tells her story.
Look
makes
at her.
Them look at
this
her.
person. You're going to take this little girl and chop her head off.
And as a last play, he plays to their thinned numbers again by going back to, don't lose somebody with such high talent.
She could be such a huge asset. She has.
We're already fucked, so let's add to the numbers.
It just sucks already knowing how this chapter goes, and you're just like, yeah, Harry. Yeah, Harry. Yeah. Oh no. Oh God. Oh no. Oh no. You went too far. Oh no. It literally gives me chills even now thinking I've read it how many fucking times in my lifetime and over the last just couple of weeks.
I went, oh shit. Yeah.
Fuck. So hardcore. Because he's building steam and you're actually, fuck yeah, he's like a lawyer. This is Legally Blonde. This is amazing.
Yeah, right? Oh. For once, Harry's doing it the right way. He's not just mouthing off and being sarcastic.
He's making a real case. He's being empathetic. He's speaking to the room.
Yeah, it's not just me. I got somebody else I'm defending here.
Anyone in this room knows what it's like to be in this position. I think I know better than anyone else. And
yeah,
you went too far.
And again, I got off my probation, right? I did manage to be okay, and I've soul gazed her. She's got so much opportunity and potential.
I forgot to take into account his pride, his ego, his self-image. Fuck.
Oh God. Yeah.
Oh, and the thing that sucks the most is that the Merlin kind of has a good point. You think we don't have wizards that want to train in peaceful times? I cannot afford to be training in war times, okay? Yeah, we need wizards, we need them right away, but not once they're going to turn on us immediately.
Yeah.
She's too much of a risk. You want to be a teacher so bad? Go get a fresh, bright-eyed, not breaking the rules wizard.
Yeah.
And train them.
Yeah. Well, exactly. And I mean, again, right, he sees it in, like, Ramirez and the Gatekeeper, and even Morgan, he can see, right? Again, he has humanized her. He has pointed out the possible rehabilitation and stuff like that, right? Is again, Morgan can clearly see the lines between the Korean kid and Molly, right? And you can see him having that moment of, oh, exactly, right? Like, she could be useful. It would be. She's not necessarily so far gone that we can't. And exactly, making them face those hard truths, right? Like, it's a lot easier to do when you don't actually have to see the consequences of your, not that because he does, but yeah. A lot easier to chop off a nameless head than a person, right? So, yeah, Harry's just finally patting himself on the back. He's like, I did it the right way. There is no possible flaw. And oh my God, that is the problem. I was so damn good. I left him no out that he's gonna just fucking spite me to spite me.
And that's the thing that you see.
And Molly's gonna pay the price.
All the time in government is that it goes back and forth, especially an American thing where, the House of Commons and the Senate, they go back and forth because they both want to be the ones who wrote the bill. So it's like you have to leave room for an amendment just so that the other side will agree. They'll write their amendment and then they can say, well,
okay,
we made it better, so now we'll pass it, you know?
Right.
I see that all the time. Legislatures are always like, you have to leave something for them to write in themselves so that they feel that it's now passable.
Like
now it's been fixed.
That teacher that never gives 100% because you could always do something better. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
but anyways, but to the point too, you forgot to do that. You didn't leave them as wiggle room, and now we're all fucked.
Yeah, and now, again, it's not even just you. Again, in your impassioned speech to save Molly, you have now fucked over Molly. She is the one that is going to pay the price for this. Because in this instance, right, Harry is saying, if you let me apprentice her, I will take on responsibility for that. And you can, but that hasn't happened yet. If they just don't, then again, other than him, where he said he would stand to defend her, right? But right now,
he's practically saying Doom and Damocles us both, and they're still like,
yeah, but
they kill her right now and be done.
And we don't have to. We can just kill her and end this, and you're not taking yourself down with this necessarily, right?
You know who fought for you the first time, Harry? A respected member of the council. You know who you are?
Who was already like 500 years old.
Respected member of the council,
and who's barely a 30-year-old. And again, even as he said this, he's like me, like just a puppy of a wizard, right? Exactly. You haven't even lived one full mortal lifetime, let alone several, like the senior council and that. And exactly, Ebenezer had a few centuries to come to your defense. Yeah. You're a drop in the pond. So I can remember my heart in my throat.
Exactly.
The first time around, like reading the end of this chapter. And just being like, what?
Literally remember sitting in Huntington House at like 4 a.m. and having school the next day.
I
gotta keep reading this. Like, what is happening? Like pacing up and down the house because I'm so stressed out.
I know, this is the moment where you like put the book down and you have to go.
Like, so upset, and I have to know. I can't possibly go to sleep, but I'm too upset to keep reading.
Yeah. I was gonna say you can't quite continue yet, but you were like, this is not the This was definitely Harry always wins.
Thank you to our Patreon subscribers for your generous support. It's people like you who help us to do what we do. If you're not yet a Patreon subscriber, sign up today and get a fuck ton of bonus content, kick-ass merch, behind-the-scenes outtakes, and more. Sign up today at www.patreon.com/freeflowrambling.
Chapter 46. The Gatekeeper delays the vote long enough to allow the return and rescue of the remaining senior council members by none other than our friendly neighborhood Knight of the Cross, Michael.
That's got to be the most spoilery one you ever wrote, ever.
I know, right? It still always makes me cringe, even though I know everybody's up to there, but it's like, stop it.
If you haven't... We're just going to get to it.
I know, but it's just...
I think spoilers for that chapter are fine.
They are, but again, my brain is just, automatically reactive to that every time. They're like that.
So Molly's head is no longer covered. She can see what's coming. And just the faces. Morgan, Fix, Lily, Ramirez, Molly.
Well,
fuck.
And it was interesting because right at the start of Harry's defense of her, Molly is like, what is going... Because again, there was like some pause or something while everybody looked at each other significantly or whatever, right? And Molly's like, what is going on? Can I take this thing off? And not yet. And whether it was deliberately planned or just kind of came up at he's like, you can't do it. But yeah, exactly. Now that the final approximation is exactly, now she can all of a sudden. So it's like none of that is I don't know if that's better or worse for her at this point. It's like, you know what, I changed my mind. Maybe just put it back on. But I love how even Morgan pauses. Morgan
is just devastating in and of itself. You know, when Harry's so frantic, he doesn't even know what to do. So he just puts himself between Morgan and starts pleading. And even Morgan's like, please, Dresden, please don't do this. And you're like, fuck. Because normally Morgan would take any opportunity to slay Dresden and get rid of him. And for that, Morgan's even like, just don't do this anymore, man.
I don't like, you were already saying how
we're slaying a child.
Not how useless, but how, or such a waste or whatever to get rid of Molly, and now you're just going to throw yourself away with it as well. You know what I mean? And then, Harry? Like, ooh, the feels!
And she's like, Molly's already crying, which, to be fair, I'd have been crying.
I would have been sobbing.
As soon as the hood went on, I'd have been crying.
Probably before then, I don't know, but exactly right. Yeah, definitely I would have been crying already at this point. Exactly. And he's like, but I promised Charity. It's like, well, you do. Until you die, you have not, you're still fulfilling that promise, Harry. You said you would die for her, so, really, it's going according to plan. But, yeah, no, just...
Also, I felt this pressure on my spine and just whirled around to see the Gatekeeper. I'm sorry, why is the Gatekeeper so dramatic? Like, if I'm not introduced, I'm not speaking. Like, he's tell on me or you're gonna die.
That's like the same thing that happened in book 4, right? The whole senior council starts arguing with itself, and Ebenezer's like, you just fucked yourself over, Harry, or whatever. And Harry's like, oh my God. And then all of a sudden he's like, I noticed way on the far side of the stage, the Gatekeeper just possibly looking at me. I can't really tell because he's got his hood up. And then he does the whole freeze time thing and go over and have a chat. But exactly right. It's always this. I suddenly felt the weight of his. He's like, I can just stare daggers at you.
He's like, I just love that the entire senior council, it doesn't matter how powerful, how old they are, every one of them is so dramatic in their own way.
Right. It's like what you get, I guess, when you live like forever, and the whole thing.
They know the art of the loophole.
Point of order. Ooh. The Merlin only has 6 votes. The Gatekeeper has still not cast his 7. That doesn't matter. 6 still beats 1.
Don't care.
He still gets a vote.
Yeah, even if it only buys me seconds. Harry's like, I don't know what else the fuck to do right now. And it works.
It buys him 5 minutes.
And and again,
wonderful.
Same thing that the Gatekeeper did before.
But poor Molly,
as well.
while she's waiting for 5 whole minutes.
Oh my God, yes. But even still, at that point, I would rather take it than. But this is what happened. He did the same thing. They're like, how do you?
That 5 minutes, she just ended up having a heart attack and dying instead.
Oh gosh, she shit her pants like 20 times now.
But that's why it's so good, because you know that Harry has a plan. It's already been worked out. He already had these things coming, and now
he thought he did.
And he's so invested in this, and even when he has this moment of calmness, no, he gets a vote. And you can see Harry, he crosses his arms. He's very stubborn now. He's like, he gets a vote. And Merlin's like, fine, let's play this bullshit out.
Yeah.
Gatekeeper, what's your vote?
Yeah.
Nothing.
That's what I was trying to say there. In book 4, he does the same thing. They're like, how do you vote? And he's like, I think we should open the doors. And all of a sudden, same thing is like, he just dramatically pauses for a few minutes and in that case, it was like the frozen emissary suddenly came back in, and they're like, oh, wait. But I love how, he's just, again, it's just hilarious and beautiful at the same time, right? Like, the Gatekeeper is not as outwardly dramatic, yet everything just happens.
He's a funny guy regardless.
Yeah. I love his abstract sort of the way he just then goes.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what? You don't have to be funny when you know timing. Comedic timing works for you everywhere.
Everything. But it's also a nice moment here where, again, the Merlin is like, okay, hurry up. Like, doesn't fucking matter. You're just wasting time. And again, it's that nice touch where you get the respect and stuff for the Gatekeeper, and why Harry is like, he's kind of an ally, because he's like, it doesn't matter. He's like, regardless of the outcome and regardless of whether it's a yes or a no, he's like, taking a life is a really big fucking deal. And I'm going to give it my due diligence, whether you think it's a done deal or not, whether you already, but he's like, if I'm going to kill this person, I can at least give them 5 minutes of my time to see if I truly, right? And it's, yes, you know what, like, again, just because you do forget sometimes in all of this, when you're running around killing vampires, they don't matter, they're vampires, they're not people.
All the people that died at the movie theater,
all the people that died,
put zero thought and effort into.
Yeah, the police will figure, they'll just be unsolved cases of whatever, but exactly, right, it's like you do take it all sort of for granted. It doesn't, of course you have to go kill thousands of vampires, blah, 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 but it's like that reminder that even in a world where you're running around killing everybody all the time, hold up though, it's not just because there's no regard for life. It's not supposed to just be because, like an action movie where you can destroy all of New York to save that one person. Like, who cares if we brought down 16 skyscrapers? That's just the price of doing business,
As long as Iron Man's okay.
Yeah, exactly, right? So, that need for deliberation. Where
to a certain point, the Gatekeeper's almost like an evolved Morgan, where he is not on either side. He's just very lawful.
Spoilers!
Lawful neutral, where he just wants to, either or, I won't. But Morgan's still too rash. Morgan's still too quick to be like, all right,
he's only 150. He's still like a puppy, yeah.
I'm not saying that Morgan will ever get to the same level of calm that the Gatekeepers, but that's still that same sort of, it's the lawful opinion rather than...
Yeah, Morgan just, doesn't always seem to take as long to get to that point. Yeah, the nuances in that. Yeah, he's a little bit quicker in his, but yes, that same, I'd say kind of lawful neutral sort of. Finally decides that sounds like he's about to make a decision, and then again does his fancy,
The gatekeeper asked for 5 minutes. May sound like an arbitrary number, but you know what? It's just the perfect amount of time that the gatekeeper needed.
And yeah. Funnily enough, I am so glad. See, that's why Harry had to take those couple minutes to find him, because he's like, we just put him in dumb asking for 7 minutes.
Can I please have 7 minutes and 42 seconds?
Harry, call me now, Harry. Yeah, Harry, call me. Yeah.
yeah. You'll know the cue when I need it.
Yeah, right.
Okay, what is it?
I'm gonna
stare at your back.
Do you feel me looking at you?
I won't look at you the whole time so you don't feel my eyes, but then I'll look at you.
Right. You know, like they always say, it's like, you know, when you feel like someone's watching you, someone's following you. Yeah, exactly.
So our 5 minutes passes and the gatekeeper breaks the circle and unlocks the door to the Merlin's surprise. And lo and behold, McCoy, Lucio and her trainees, Martha Liberty listens to winds burst through the door. And Michael.
Da-da-da. And again,
led by a young woman with short curly hair, Lucio, led by Ebenezer running in the door, Martha Liberty running through the door, Injun Joe listens to wind running through the door.
And it's done so it doesn't take very long, but I love how it's kind of all off camera. You hear the voices and then you see the people. So it still gives you that fucking element of surprise, even though you're like, okay, obviously this is the contingent. Once it starts to happen, you're like, oh, I kind of know. And then you still get that last vague, there's like, move. Like some kind of because again, he's like, I'm closing the thing, and he's like, and then there was a chime. So like, I don't know about anybody else, but like for a split second, your brain is like, oh, that's him closing the way, and then you're like, oh, big splat on the wall, and then you're like, oh, that chime that sounded like steel. Oh, maybe that was actually steel and not just his magic closing the right. Like, oh fuck, what's one of the best power entrance thingies. Yeah.
Michael came in. He wore his white cloak, his mail and breastplate. He bore Amarachius in his hand, stained with dark fluids. He glanced around the room, a smile firm on his face. Papa!
Oh, Jesus.
Can my parents be there? No. Such a hard thing to tell somebody at your execution that your parents can't come with you, but Michael's fucking there!
I was going to say, at least, you know, in an actual court of law, you can be, you know, and again,
parents,
even if it's like a closed court, I'm pretty sure exactly, you get, those people get to sit in the gallery kind of a thing, right? Even if they can't be next, but yeah, exactly, to have this, where they're like, they cannot even accompany you to this trial and have that emotional support, let alone if they can actually do anything for you. But yeah, exactly, just,
It's just amazing, pretty much the reverence that they all have for Michael. They know who he is. They know, not only do they know who he is, but he's saved every single one of them. Ebenezer just outright says, if it weren't for him, we'd all be dead.
The council doesn't know who he is. The people who are just working with him for the last 2 or 3 days know who he is.
Yeah.
Michael was sent to go and do something, and this is what it was. He had to go and save Lucio's campers.
Yeah, campers. You make it sound so much. But yes,
whatever he was sent to overlapped with this, and...
Exactly. Oh, sudden vampire invasion. Just so happens that vampire invasion you're helping to stop also includes a bunch of wizards and trainees. So, yes, right? The beauty of it. And then you go back that chapter or two and be like, this is what he was talking about with Father Fordham.
Why would
he was like
the Almighty send Michael away when his family needed him most? How does that play out? How do we play those cards to make that make sense?
I don't know, Harry, but the Lord sent you in to help his daughter in between.
God works in mysterious ways.
Yeah, and as you said, at the end of the last chapter where you're like, I can't go to sleep, I can't read anymore, but I can't go to sleep. And then you get through, I mean, it's thankfully a little bit stretched out, but not a lot stretched, just enough to give you that. And then you're now putting the book down and dancing around the house.
Relief and relief and
yes,
relief.
And fist punching the air and the whole like, fuck, yes. Still have to like step away from the book a minute, but now it's just like abject joy.
Couple of things. Vote isn't over, so listens to win, Martha Liberty and McCoy now get their votes back. You no longer have that proxy.
Ooh.
And also, Michael just saved all of our asses. Maybe we could save one of his.
Yeah, what a beautiful, like, just chef's kiss, that moment right there. Beautiful.
Right. And again,
and Michael has no idea.
Michael has no idea what's going on. He was just there regardless to do his thing.
And the picture of him, you know, juggling Molly and the sword and shaking hands with the other wizards, and you're just...
Yeah, well, yeah, even Ebenezer, she's like, I've heard of you, but I've never, you know, like, holy shit, to actually see you in action is crazy, right? And again, for like the
Merlin was already, like, which one?
Yeah, exactly, sword. Right? He obviously had never had... met him face
knows
exactly,
of them.
But of course, anybody knows of the sword.
An exalted sort of reputation that
absolutely. And again, he carries the sword of love. Right?
Michael would not ever want this comparison, but he's got to look like a god right now.
Yeah.
He's got to look like the avenging spirit then.
Yeah, exactly. He is definitely the big kahuna right here. He is, yeah. And again, love that he is in his full regalia and everything like that, right? Just that much more powerful. You literally have the fist of God just come running through your door, saving not only 3 of your super powerful members, plus the commander of your wardens and these 40 newbies that you desperately need and also just don't want to die in the first place, Like, you're already signing on for a lot of shit ton. Like, at least let me get through boot camp,
Now, Harry has learned something in the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, and Ebenezer straight up, he's a fucking hero. Well, he's a bloody hero, but you know what I mean? He's like, yeah.
But Harry's learned now that he has to give Merlin something, and it's the last word.
And what a last word it is.
Listen, if I'm right, we got another strong wizard. And if I'm wrong, you still get to kill her.
That's true. And you, along with her. Like, I'll get it too for.
Such a great setup for raising the bar in future stakes. Like, this is just automatically next book is already going to be raised stakes just because of that statement right there.
Because she
the
exists,
threat looms.
You are
she
back
fucks up,
with that
she makes
sword
any
hanging over
mistakes,
your head.
you're done.
The adulation and the relief and the... this last 3 chapters is such a fucking roller coaster.
Right?
Again, as we said, like, you think Arctus Tor is the climax of this book?
In about 3 chapters, you're going to wish you were just back at Arctus Tor trying to figure out how to fight
Exactly. Oh, Molly, it was an execution at Arctus Tor. Did that sound scary, being eaten by a fetch?
Yeah.
Oh, crazy.
Wow.
Absolutely insanity.
Yeah.
Very satisfying.
And you do. And you just
all genuine human emotion. Yeah.
Just thank you, Michael. Thank you. Thank you, God and the Lord and the Michael and the fate and the Harry predicting this was going to happen the way it happened.
Exactly. And it's so, because again.
It's a great way to see all the chips land.
Well,
perfect. It's like that full, like playing poker and then getting the royal.
Royal flush. That like perfect domino.
Yeah, just
execution.
setting up for ages and ages and ages and ages, and you get one shot and it works.
Well, even back again with his Harry and Fort Hill's conversation, where he's like, I was fucking facing an ex-Denarian. And I was like, okay, this is their thing. This is their dude. A knight will show up and save me. And nobody fucking showed up. Like, and Fort Hill is still like, God knows he knows the past, present, future. He knows how, like, we can't see it and we can't always tell from our perspective.
Doesn't make sense to us,
But there is, there was some, you know what I mean? So even drawing back, and again, when you get to this, you're like, I wouldn't even necessarily have tied that, right? You're just like, oh yeah, Harry is like, I'm a little bitter about that moment. Like, I really almost had it. And they almost, if hadn't been for Butters and Mouse coming back, you know what I mean? And Fort Hill is like, no, you still gotta have faith. And Harry's like, my faith doesn't get supported very often. I was having faith. I was like, all right, God, here we go. And you didn't, right? So again, just to have that tie-in back to here, right, where Harry was still taking that leap of faith. Because he was still obviously counting on this somehow, that maybe this is where Michael went, and maybe this is somehow will tie together. And thank God it did.
And I think it is a little bit to the point, too, of, Harry when he prays once a year when he's really in bad tidings and it doesn't work out. But, the Carpenter family who's praying and working in God's will each and every single day.
And just this book alone, how often was Charity like, let me say a prayer for you?
Well, exactly. But to that point of, okay, fine, do it to me, but how could you do this to Molly and the Carpenters, right? And that faith that, like, no, God wouldn't let that happen to them. Like, there's no way he could let that injustice slide.
Well, and again, and as we, like, again, fine, maybe the majority of these wizards don't actually know him, but again, we know just what a genuinely nice guy Michael is, and he's not some pompous, like, I've noticed in a couple of, like, the kids' movies lately, there's a couple of them, like, Megamind and stuff like that, where really they make the heroes out to kind of be these pompous asses as well.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, they're saving the world, but like, I'm so perfect, and I'm so wonderful, and
Megamind's a great movie for that.
Yeah, I just saw Henchman or something was another one I watched a little while ago, that similar kind of a thing or whatever, right? And it's like, it's kind of fair, but I'm like, but Michael's not actually that person, you know what I mean? Like, even if you took all of that away and stuff like that.
Extraordinarily likable.
Yeah, right? It's not because of all this wonderful...
It's not
like
a saccharine sort of thing.
It's like Michael is awesome and he gets to do awesome stuff. Not that he's awesome because he has this, you know what I mean? That, you know, again, 5 minutes of meeting, right? He's going to be polite to the Merlin. He's going to be respectful. He's going to, like, the Merlin's not going to be able to hate him no matter what. You know what I mean? Just because... You know, not because he's trying to suck up and save his daughter. The true altruism with no ulterior motives ever, anywhere.
This concludes our episode 17.27. And for my next trick, thank you for listening. You can find us online at freeflowrambling.com and McAnallys.ca. There we have links to our other podcasts, social media, and other fun tidbits. Please subscribe if you like what you're hearing, and please consider supporting us through Patreon to keep the magic alive and to see more content. We are Free Flow Rambling. Conjure by it at your own risk.